Welcome everyone as we learn the Chok Yisro for Yisro, Yom Chamishi, Day 5, Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. V'shaftu es ha'am b'chol eis, Yisro said, and you will judge the people at all time, v'yakol ha'davar ha'gadol yaviu eilecha, all the difficult matters they will bring to you, the kol hadavar ha'katan, and all of the easier matters, yishpatu haim, they will judge, v'akel me'alecha, they make it easier for you, v'nasu itach, and they will be able to bear the burden with you. V'dunin yas ama b'chol idan, v'yehei kol piskam rav yesun levasach, v'kol piskam ze'er yedunun inun, v'yiklun minach, v'yisayrun imach. Says Rashi, V'shaftu doesn't mean and it will be judged, but will mean and you shall judge. In other words, it's a command. V'dunun, the uncle says, Lashon Sivoy, and they shall judge the people. V'akel me'alecha, and I'll make it light for you. Davar zeh l'hakel me'alecha. This matter to make it lighter for you. The hakel is k'moi v'hach beid es libay, to harden his heart. V'hakos es mayav, to smite mayav. Lashon hoiva, it means what is presently being done. It will make it easier for you to harden his heart, to smite Moav. If you will do this, and of course, Yisro said you should take counsel with Hashem. So if Hashem instructs you to do this, then you'll be able to withstand the great challenge. And also everyone with you, Aaron, Chur, Nadav, and Avihu, the Shivim Zekanim, will be able to also get to their needs in peace. V'tzivcha alei elikim, and Hashem commands you, v'yachol amod, then you will v'yachol amod, then you will be able to withstand. Of course, says Yisro, himalech b'gvura. Take advice of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Im yitzava ischolasa iskain, if he instructs you to do, tuchel amod, you'll be able to withstand it. If Shem stops you from doing this, implementing this, then you won't be able to withstand the pressure. What's the rest of the people? Aaron v'Nadav Avihu, Rashi doesn't say here, Chor, Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu, v'Shivim Zekanim, Hanilvim Ata Imach, that are working with you now together. He didn't say the Targum. Hashem then v'seichel l'meikam v'afkol amo adein al asre yahach b'shlom. Vayishma Moshe l'kel chosnai. Moshe Rabbeinu listened to the voice, the recommendation of his father-in-law. V'yas kol asher omar, and did all that he said. V'kabel Moshe l'meimer chamui v'aved kol da'amor. Vayivcha Moshe anshe chayil, and Moshe chose men of wealth, Mikol Yisrael, Vayitin Aisam Roshim Ala'am, and he made them heads of the people. Sorry Alafim, officers of thousands. Sorry Meis, officers of 100. Sorry Chamishim, officers of 50. And Sorry Asaris, officers of 10. Ovacha Moshe Gavin Dechela Mikol Yisrael, Umana Yasoin Reishin Al-Ama, Rabbani Alfin, Rabbani Ma'av, Rabbani Chamshin, and Rabbani Isor Yasa. V'shaftu es ha'am b'chol eis, and they judged the people on all time. As hadavar ha'kasha yivi'un el Moshe, they brought to Moshe. V'kol hadavar ha'katan, and every easy thing, yishputu haim, they judged. V'dainun yas ama b'chol idan, yas piskam koshe maisin levas Moshe, v'kol piskam ze'er dainun inun. So Rashi says, first of all, the yishputu with a shuruk, right, with the u sound, yishputu haim, kamay yishpaitu. That has the same meaning as if it would have a chaylam. V'chein loy savuri in Rus, when it says loy savuri, you shouldn't pass from here. K'moy loy savori, it's as if it would be a chaylim. V'targuma, when it says yishputu hein, means dainuninun. They judge. In other words, this is not a command, this is what will transpire. Mikrois el yoinim, the previous psukim were a command. Hayuloshin sivu, instruction. Letak mikturgamin vidunun, and you shall judge. Yaisen, you shall bring. Yedunun, you should judge. Mikrois halol loshin asiya, what's taking place, and they judge the people. Now, continuing in Yeshaya, if you remember, that the Navi told Achaz that the attack that is said to happen from the 10 tribes will not happen. Bereish Ephraim Shamron, the head of Ephraim belongs in Shamron, not in Yerushalayim. Bereish Shamron ben Ramalyo. But Imloi Saminu, if they don't believe in this prophecy, Achaz and the men that are with him, ki lo yisei amnu, that's because they're not men of truth. They're not men of Amun. Amen is of course truth. They're not men of truth. So vayoysev Hashem daber el Achaz lamer. So Hashem spoke to Achaz again, saying, listen, ask for proof, ask for a sign from Hashem your God. Hamek sha'olah, ask for something that happens very deep in the ground. Or ask for something high in the heavens. Vayomer Achaz said with wickedness, Loi eshal, I won't ask for a sign. V'loi anas es Hashem, because I don't want to make Hashem look great. That's Rashi says, Ein ritzayni sheyishskadei shmoi al yodi. I don't want that Hashem should be sanctified through me. It was a big Rasha. Vayomer, so the Navi said, Shimon na Beis David. Achaz was of course the Davidic king. Listen now, Beis David. Hamat mikem halaos anoshim. Isn't it enough for you that you wear out the prophets? Kisilu games elikai. Will you also wear out Hashem as if he can't fulfill your words? How are you going to behave that way with Hashem as well? The Navi said to him in anger. Shlomo Melech tells us a theme that we hear many times. Oizen shamas techachas chayim, a ear that listens to chastisements of life, an ear that hears musar about how people should live. Bekerev chachamim tolim, such a person dwells in the midst of the wise. Wise people listen to rebuke. Poreya musar, one who negates and cancels musar, mayis benafshay. He despises his soul. V'shemea teichachas, but one who listens to rebuke, kaina leiv, acquires a heart of understanding. Yiras Hashem, fear of Hashem, is musar chachma. Fear of Hashem is acquired through chastisements of wisdom. That's the way a person gains Yiras Hashem. V'lifnei chavod anava. And before honor is the practice of humility. If a person practices humility, then honor will eventually come. Now here, we have a very scary piece of advice. La'odam ma'archei leiv. To a man belongs the strategy of thinking what to say. But even if a person makes plans of what he strategically should say, but umei Hashem manei loshen, from Hashem comes the expression of the tongue. In other words, we still have to pray to Hashem that we don't bumble and we don't fumble what we plan to say. That's what Rashi says. Kishabala Hashiv, the other Marchilei Rashi says, who's Seider Atzasai Udavarav Belibai? He arranges his counsel and his words in his heart. But Hashem Analoshin, Kishabala Hashiv, when he comes to give an answer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Machshilai B'dvarav, Hashem could cause him to stumble. Oyim Zacha, or if he deserves it, Mezaman Leiman Atayv, he allows him to say a good answer. So even though a person figures out exactly what to say, he has to pray to Hashem. We do that before we daven. Hashem svasai tiftachu fi agiti lasecha, and let my mouth relate your praises properly. Kol darchei ish zoch be'einav. The ways of a man are pure in his eyes. Everybody thinks that they're doing what's right. V'seichen ruchais, but what goes on inside a person's spirit, Hashem. Hashem knows what's going on. Hashem is Moina halavavos. Rashi says, Mi atoiva mi ara. Hashem is beichein kloyos v'leiv v'yodea sisrei salumas kolcha. He knows what's really going on inside of us. And now we learn the third parak of Menachos. Hakaimetzes amincha. If somebody does, remember, machshav of pigel is when you have in mind to do something after its permitted time. So hakaimetzes amincha. If somebody takes the kmitza from the mincha, lechol davar shein darkei lechol, to eat something that is normally not eaten after its time, like to eat the kmitza, which is smoked up, or to eat the levina, the frankincense, or lahakter davar shein darkei lahakter, or to smoke up something that is not the derech to smoke up, in other words, the shirayim. Rebbe Eliezer Paisel, Rebbe Eliezer says that still disqualifies the carbon. Lechol davar shedarkei lechol, if he has in mind to eat something that is normally eaten, the shirayim, lahakter davar shedarkei lahakter, but he has in mind pocher smikazayis, to do it less than a kazayis. Less than a kazayis is not considered eating, it's not considered smoking up, therefore it's kosher. Also, if he has in mind lechol kachatzi zayis, to eat a half a zayis of the shirayim tomorrow, or lahakter kachatzi zayis, and to smoke up half a kazayis of the kmitza tomorrow, kosher. Why? Because they don't combine. She'ein achil of aktarim etzdarfen, because the eating of a human and the consumption of the mizbeach do not combine to make pigel. Lo yotzak. We know that you have to put in a lug of oil. If, let's say, first you put in a little oil in the clay shards, then you mix in the flour, and then you put in the rest of the oil. If lo yotzak, if the kayin didn't put in the rest of the oil, but a non-kayin did. Now, since the avodah has to be b'kayin from the time of kmitza, since this is before the kmitza, if a non-kayin did it, it's not ma'akiv. Or loy balal, it wasn't mixed at all. So bila is not ma'akiv, as long as it's a keli that could accommodate mixing. If you don't mix, it's not ma'akiv. Loy pasas, if he didn't break it all up, there are menachos that have to be broken before we do the kmitza. He didn't break it all up, he just broke up that which he has to take the kmitza from. Or loy malach, it wasn't salted by kayin, it was salted by Yisro. Loy hanef, if it wasn't waved, loy higish, or if it wasn't brought near the southwestern corner of the mizbeach. Oy shepsasan pitim merubas, or he broke it into bigger pieces than it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be folded in two, then into four, and then broke it. He broke it into bigger pieces. Or v'loy mishachan, or the rikikin, which after the wafers are made, they're supposed to be smeared with oil, and he didn't smear it, ksheris. In all these cases, it's still kosher. Nisarev kumtza b'kaimitz chaverta, if his kmitza got mixed up with somebody else's kmitza, or b'minchas kahanim, the kmitza got mixed up with a mincha of a kain, which all goes to be burnt, because the mincha of a kain doesn't have a kmitza, it all goes on the mizbeach, or b'minchas kain HaMashiach, or the mincha of the kain gadol, which is called the minchas chavitin, which is offered in the morning and in the afternoon, or b'minchas nesachim, or it gets mixed up with the mincha that accompanied libations, which goes entirely on the mizbeach, ksheira, because you just put your kamitza with it all on the mizbeach. Reb Yehuda Aimer, if it gets mixed up in minchas kayan Mashiach, or b'minchas nesachim, if it gets mixed up with the mincha of the kayan Mashiach or the minchas nesachim, which has much more oil in it, a regular mincha has one lug, this has 3 lugin, at least, psula. Why? Shezubali lasa ava, a regular mincha has less oil and is therefore a thicker batter. V'zubali lasa raka, and this is a thinner batter because it has more oil. Vein baila zumazu, and one absorbs from the other, so therefore they can't be burnt together, and therefore they're possible. Shtei menachas shaloi nikbetzu. If, let's say, Ruvain and Shimon both had a mincha, and they didn't get the kmitza removed from it, and they got mixed up one from another with another. So it depends. If they're just touching, if you could still take a kmitza from Ruvain's, and you're sure it's all Ruvain's flour, and mezubah fnei atzma, you could take the kmitza all from Shimon's, ksheris. But they got mixed up so thoroughly that you don't know that you're getting all from Ruvain and all from Shimon. It's going to be parts of both of them, then it's possible. If the kmitza gets mixed up with a mincha that the kmitza wasn't taken yet, then you have a problem. Because lo yakta, you can't smoke it up, because you can only smoke up the kmitza. You can't smoke up together with the other one because the kmitza wasn't taken from it yet, and you're not allowed to smoke up only a kmitza. V'im hikter, but if you did it, you illegally did it, so the one whose kmitza got smoked up, he was yaitzi. Zu shenik mitzah also labalim. The zu, the one that the kmitza wasn't taken, shaloinik mitzalay also l'bam. He has to bring another mincha. Nisorev kumtza b'shyoreha. If the kmitza got mixed up with the remnants, now the remnants can't go on the mizbeach. The din is kol shemimenu leishim. Anything that part of it has to go on the mizbeach, harihu babal taktiru. The remainder can't go on the mizbeach. So if the kmitza got mixed up with the remnants, so you can't do anything. Somebody else's remnants, lo yakter. Vim hikter, but if you did put it up, so then also l'baylam, because the kmitza got on the mizbeach, so you weren't supposed to do it, but if you did it, the mincha is kosher. Nidma kaimetz v'kriva. Let's say Ruvain brought a mincha, the kayin took the kmitza and became tamei. So the din is, you're not supposed to put it on the mizbeach, because it's tamei. But if you did, v'krivu hatzitz meratza. There's a halacha that the tzitz, the foreplate that the kohen gadol wore, makes acceptable that which was put on the mizbeach b'tumah. So then he's yoitzi his mincha, but it only is meratza for tumah. Yotza, if the kohen took a kmitza and it was taken out of the ayazara and became posel b'yotzei, v'krivai, and then they offered it on the mizbeach, einat tzitz meratza. The tzitz can't fix that. Shatzitz meratza ala tummy, the tzitz could fix tumah, but ve'eina meratza ala yotzei, can't fix that which was taken out. Nidmu shioreha. Oh, what happens if you took the kmitza and before you offered on the mizbeach, the remnants became tamei, or nisrafu shioreha, or the remnants got burnt, or avdu shioreha? Kemidas Rebbe Lazar, according to Rebbe Lazar, who says in a similar case, an analogous case of an animal offering, even if the meat got burnt, you're still allowed to be zarik the dam. You're still allowed to sprinkle the blood. So according to him, ksheira, you'd be allowed to offer the kmitza even though the shiraim got burnt. Or Kemidas Rabbi Yeshua, who says if the meat became tamei, or if the meat got burnt or lost, you can't be zarik the dam, so then psula. Shaloi b'klei sharis. What happens if the kaimitz of the mincha was not put into a klei sharis and was put on the mizbeach before it was put in the klei sharis? Psula. Rabbi Shimon machshir, but Rabbi Shimon holds it's kosher. Hikter kumtza pamayim ksheira. If you offered the kmitza in two halves, you took the kmitza with the 3 fingers, and then you put half of it on the mizbech and another half on the mizbech, it's kosher, because each half will still have a kazayas. But if you did it in 3 times, each part won't have a kazayas, and then it wouldn't be good. Hakoimetz mi'utay ma'akeves rubai. If you took the kmitza and then you lost some of it, even a small amount, you can't put it on the mizbeach. Ho yisaron, you have to have an yisaron. If part of the yisaron, the 10th, was mi'utay ma'akeves rubai. Hayayin, you're supposed to have, let's say, 3 lug of wine. Mi'utay ma'akeves rubai. If you're missing part of it, you can't do it in the sachin. Hashemen, oil. Mi'utay ma'akeves rubai. You have to have the full amount of oil. If you're missing some of the oil, it's no good. The din is that the fine flour and the oil of a mincha are necessary for each other. It's not good unless you have those 2 ingredients. You can only offer the kmitza if all the frankincense that's supposed to go up on the mizbeach together with the kmitza is there. We know that there's 2 twin goats. One is a Sar Hashem that's done in the Kodesh Kodashim, in the Kodesh, and one is thrown off Azazel. If one is missing, then you can't bring the other. Shnei Kivsei Atzeres, we know that the only Shalmei Tzibur of the entire year is the 2 shlamim that are bought, the 2 lambs that are bought on Shavuos. If one is missing, you can't bring the other. They're accompanied by the shtei alechem, shtei chalas ma'akvazuazu. You can't bring one without the other. We know that there are 2 rows of 6 loaves each, the 12 loaves of the lechem aponim. Shnei sa'adarim akvan. You can't do one without the other. Shnei vazichen, we offered 2 spoonfuls of frankincense. Ma'akvin zezeh, you can't do one without the other. Hazidorim v'abazichen ma'akvin zezeh. You can't have the loaves without the sensifuls, the spoonfuls of azichen, or vice versa. Shnei minim shebenazir, together with the shlamim of the nazir, we offered 2 types of, together with the shlamim of the nazir, we offered 2 types of loaves, 10 of each. We offered 10 chalas and 10 rikikin, 10 chalas and 10 wafers. So you can't have one without the other. Shloisha shebapara, together with that paraduma, there are 3 things that we do. We dip in the blood, the hyssop, the eitzeres, the cedar wood, and the shni salas, the scarlet thread. Abba shebataida, there are 4 types of loaves. There's 40 loaves brought with the Thanksgiving offering, and they are 3 which are unleavened, of 3 types. That's chalas, rikikin, and revucha, that's deep fried. And then there's 10 loaves of chametz. Abba shebelulav, the 4 types of the lulav, the lulav, esrik, hadas, and arava. You can't have one without the other. This was very nageh during the Holocaust when they didn't have all 4, so there's no Indian to do 3. Abba shebet mitzayra, the 4 of the mitzayra that's dipped in, they slaughter 1 bird, and they dip into the blood 4, the aforementioned hyssop, cedar wood, and scarlet thread, and also a live bird. Ma'akvin zezeh, you need all of them. Sheva hazoyah sheba para, the 7 sprinklings of the para, of the paraduma, towards the oil moyed. Ma'akvazuazu. Now, when it comes to the partial kohen gadol and the soir of Yom Kippurim, Sheva Hazoyah Shel Bein Abanim, the 7 sprinklings that are done between the badim in the paroiches, in the Kodesh Kodashim, V'she'al HaParoiches, and the 7 that's done onto the curtain that separates the Kodesh and the Kodesh Kodashim. Vish al Mizbeach Hazav, and the 7 that are done on the tiaroi of the golden altar. Ma'ak v'zu. You can't have, you need to have all 21. Any one is ma'akiv. Shiva Knei Menorah, Ma'akvin Zezeh. The 7 branches of the menorah invalidate. If the menorah only has 6 branches, it's no good. Shiva Neiroi said the 7 lamps on top of the branches. Ma'akvin Zezeh. Shtei Parshiyos Sheba Mezuzah, the 2 Parshiyos in the Mezuzah, Shema Vayim Shemaya, Ma'akvin Zuzu. You need to have both Parshiyos. Vafilu Ksav Echad Ma'akvin. Even one letter will make the Mezuzah not good. Abba Parshiyos Sheba Tefillin, the 4 passages in the Tefillin, Ma'akvin Zuzu, Vafilu Ksav Echad Ma'akvin. Even one letter invalidates. Abba Tzitziyos Ma'akvin Zuzu. You can't have tzitzis kosher unless you have 4 tzitzis on the 4 corners. Sha'abos and mitzvahas. All 4 are one mitzvah. Rabbi Shmuel Aimer Abos and Abba mitzvahs. Each one is a separate mitzvah, but the halacha is not like Rabbi Shmuel. And now we learn the Gemara in Masechtas Menachos, a famous Gemara about tefillin. Am Rabbi Yehuda Kesher shel tefillin tzarich sheyeh lamala. This is a very interesting halacha. That's why people have to have tefillin that fit properly, because the knot of the tefillin in the back of the neck shouldn't be low down on the neck, but rather high up on the neck. So it should signify that Klal Yisrael should be above and not below. It should be in the middle, opposite the center of the face, not on the side. So that Yisrael should be in the front, not on the side, which is more back, and not back. Amar Shmuel bar Bidrei Amarav, Imri la Amarav Acha, Aricha Amarav Huna, V'imri la Amarav Menashia Amar Shmuel, Tefillin me'amasai mevarech aleim. When do you make a bracha on the tefillin? Mishas hanachasim. When you put them on. After you put them on. So the Gemara says, after you put them on? Ini? V'amarav Yudah Amar Shmuel, Kol ha-mitzvahs kulam mevarech aleim oivel asiyasam. All mitzvahs you make a bracha before you do them. So Abaye v'Rava Dimrei Travayu Mishas hanacha, when you put it on the bicep, V'ad shas kashira, before you tighten it, before you tie it on. Amrav Chisda, sach bein tefillah, not before you tighten it, but before you tie it. Amrav Chisda, sach bein tefillah l'tefillah, if you talk between the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel reis, chayzer mavarech, you should make a new bracha. Says Gemara, you only make a bracha on the tefillin shel reis if you talk? Sach in, loy, sach loy? I vashalach Rav Chia Bereid Rav Huna Mishmeid Rav Yochanan al tefillah shel yad, on the tefillin of the yad. I'm a bracha shek chanu mitzayis mitzivano laniach tefillin, to put on the tefillin. Al tefillin shereis, I'm a bracha shek chanu mitzayis mitzivano al mitzvahs tefillin. So the Gemara says, no, this is what it means. Abaye v'Rava Dimrei Travayu lo yisach mevarech achas. If you didn't talk, then on the tefillin shereis you only make al mitzvahs tefillin. Sach, now you have to make the other bracha again, then mevarch shtayim, then on the tefillin shereis you have to say la'niach and al mitzvahs tefillin. It's bad to talk between the tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel reis. Tana sach bein tefillah l'tefillah. If you talk in between putting on the 2 tefillins, aveira hi biyadei, it's a sin. And if you're a soldier that was going to battle, the chayzer aleh me'orchei ha-milchama, and then you would return from the ranks of war, because you would be considered somebody who was afraid because of Avera Shebiyadai. Tana, Kishu Maniach, when you put it on, Maniach Shel Yad, you put on the Tefillin Shel Yad first, V'achach Maniach Shel Reish, and then you put on the Tefillin Shel Reish. Ukishu Chaylitz, but when you remove it, Chaylitz Shel Reish, you remove first the Tefillin Shel Reish, V'achach Chaylitz Shel Yad, then you remove the Tefillin Shel Yad. So the Gemara says, Bishloim Kishu Maniach, I could understand when you put it on maniach shel yad, you put on the shel yad v'akach maniach shel reish. That's the order of the pasuk. First you put it on your hand, and then that when you take it off chayil shel reish v'akach chayil shel yad, you take off the tefillin of the head, and then you take off the tefillin of the hand. Minolan. How do we know that? Amar Rabba Rav Huna Asbruli. Rav Huna explained it to me. Amakra V'hayu l'taytafos beinenecha. V'hayu is b'lashon rabin. V'hayu l'taytafos beinenecha. They should be both when you have it on your head. Kol zman shebeinenecha, when it's on your head, yushtayim. So there's never a time that it could be on your head and it should only be one. So that means you have to take off the shel rosh first, so that whenever it's on your head, you have two. And now the Zohar is a continuation of the theme that we had the last 2 days. And that is that tzaddikim, they wait especially for intimacy on Friday night when there is the connection between Kutsha Barichu v'Araisa. Amalei Rebbe said to Reb Shimon bar Yochai, Haikra boy lisyashva ba'orchai. This pasuk, we have to explain its way. In other words, we have to understand why the pasuk is written this way. Ksiv v'nosati lahem, I will give to those sarisim that wait for my Shabbos, I will give to them bebeisi ubechamosai, in my house, upon my walls, yod v'shem, a portion and a name, toiv mibanim u'mibanas, better than sons and daughters, shem olam, a everlasting name, etein loy. Now, since it's talking about to the sarisim in the plural, and it says in the beginning of the pasuk, v'nasati lahem, so etein lahem meboilei. It shouldn't say etein loy. It should say etein lahem, I will give to them. Mao etein loy. Why does it say it in the singular? Amalei tochazi. Let's analyze it. V'nasati lahem bebeisi, I will give to them in my house. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean that I will give to them in my house? Kimoda at Omar, it is referring, like it says to Moshe Rabbeinu, B'chol beisi nemonhu. In my entire house, he is trusted. Now, therefore, this refers to the midah of Malchus, to the manifestation of Malchus, which is the Shechina HaKadoshah, which is known as Bayis. Ubechamosai, what does chamosai mean? Kemoda at Amr, like it says, Al chamosayich Yerushalayim hifkareti shoymim. Upon the walls of Yerushalayim, I appointed guards. So, Beisi is the Shechina, Malchus, Bechina of Malchus. Chaimosai is the retinue of the Shechina, the Tamal Yeshamayla. Yod Vashem means Kilomer. The Yishlefun Nishmasin Kadishtin Miduchta Da. When these people that waited for Shabbos have intimacy, I will remove for them holy neshamas from the midah of Malchus, vahu yad, and when it says yad, it means chulak. Yad means a portion. Ba'ashlumasa tav, it's a portion with the good perfection. What does that mean? That they'll be full. Malyan mibninu mibnasan. It means that they'll have a portion that's full of sons and daughters from this holy source of Friday night, where there's a fusion of the Kutsha Barichu Ushchinte, and that's Pshat Shem Oilam Etein Loi. When it says Etein Loi, it's not referring to the people, but it's referring to this portion. This portion that is given to each one is a Shem Oilam Etein Loi. It's a portion that is everlasting. Lahu Chuluk Shlim. This portion will be complete. Asher lo yikares. It will never be severed. These children will remain. l'dorei dorin, for all generations. Davar acher, etein loi means it's talking about lahu de yada raza de mila. It means I will give to him who knows this secret, v'yiskaven, and intends b'mo deboy lechavna, with the intention that you're supposed to have, that you're mating in this time to connect with the Kudsha Barichu Ushchinta that has a special fusion at this time. Su'amar Reb Shimon, Ksiv lo yisevaru eish b'chol moishveiseichem b'yom HaShabbos. You shouldn't ignite a fire in all your habitats on the Shabbos day. My timer. What's the reason? Because fire represents din, judgment. Begin to lo yischaze dina b'hayuma. You don't want to show din on this day. So the Gemara says, but we make a fire on the Mizbeach. We offer up oilers on the Mizbeach on Shabbos, the carbon taben, the carbon musaf. V'itema halagavoya solka. We do have a fire on Shabbos in the Mizbeach. So he says that's different. B'chol moish v'seichem kamar. In all your habitats, v'loy legavoya. We're not talking about to Hashem. The fire that's offered to Hashem, that's just the opposite. That goes to subdue the fire of din. The taninon is esha achlo esha. There is fire that consumes fire. The esha, the madbecha, the fire of the mizbeach, achlo esha achara, consumes the fire of din. Since there isn't midas adin, that's why we said that the ancient wisdom of Atika Kadisha, is Galya Atika Kadisha Ba'ayuma, on this day, B'kol Shar Yomin, from all the other days. Zimnad is Galya Atika, when we said Atika, which we said was Lamala, from the Yud Kei Vav Kei, Zimnad is Galya Atika Lo Yischaze Dina Klal, there's no din at all. The kol ilain v'tatan, all the higher worlds and the lower worlds, mishtakin b'chedvasa shleimsa, are found with perfect happiness. V'dina lo yishalta, and there's no judgment. Even the fire of Gehenna is extinguished. Tana, we learned in the Braisa, ksiv ki sheishes yomim asa Hashem es hashamayim v'asaretz. Now this is interesting. It doesn't say ki b'sheishes yamim asa Hashem es hashamayim v'asaretz, that in 6 days Hashem created the heavens and the earth, but rather sheishes yamim vadai. It's ki sheishes yamim asa Hashem. Hashem made 6 days and es hashamayim v'asaretz. V'loi b'sheishes v'hani yomin kadishin ilayin. These holy days, Ikrun Yoimei Deshma Kadisha Iskalolbo. They are days that Hashem's holy name is included in. Because these 6 days, which is known as the Ze'er Anpin, which are the 6 spheres, we said that the 6 days of the week, each one, Sunday is Chesed, and Monday is Gvura, and Tuesday is Tiferes, and then there's Netzach, Hoid, and Yisoid. The Inon is Kalinin Bay, and they are included in the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Zakoi Chulkei in the Yisrael. Fortune is the portion of Yisrael, Mikol Amin Oivdei Avodah Zarah, from all the other idolaters. Alayu Ksiv, upon them it says, V'atem adveikim b'Hashem Elokeichem, you will cleave to Hashem your God. Chayim kulchem hayom, you're all alive today with the Kedusha of Shabbos. Now the Musar tells us that we have to be very careful that not only, of course, not to sleep with a Nida, but also not to touch her, not to pass her things, not to touch her clothing when she's wearing them during the days where she's a Nida or where she's waiting, her Yemei Libuna. As the Musa says, Ksiv el Isha benidas tamasa, a woman when she's tameh as a menstruant, loy sikrav, you should not come close. Shum korva shabaylam, you shouldn't come close at all. As it says, yod liyod, if you pass something from one hand to the other, lo yinoke ra, you won't be cleansed from evil. And ra is Gehenna. Lo Yanaka Medina Shel Gehenna. The Isser Nidahu B'chol Isha. The Isser Nida is with every woman, Bein Pnuya, whether she's unmarried, Bein Eishes Ish, or if she is married. K'maimer HaKosev, like the pasuk says, "Ve'el Isha b'nidas tumasa," any woman who has nidas tumasa. Stam Isha, any woman, Bein Ishtoi, whether it's his wife, Bein Pnuya, or an unmarried girl, Bein Eishes Ish, whether she's married, Bein Kroiva, whether she's a relative, Bein Rechaika, whether she's a stranger. Al Kain Yizar Ma'ay Lishmar Atzmai Maliga B'Bigdei Ishtoi. Should be careful when his wife is a menstruant, not even to touch her clothing that she's wearing. V'kol shechein laseis miyad liyad, and surely not to pass something into her hand. V'talmud echad shekar v'shana v'shimish talmidei chacham. There was a disciple that learned Chumash and Mishnayos and Gemara. Mipnei shelo yahaya niza b'mei libuna. He wasn't careful when she was wearing her white clothing during her days of separation, even though she was not bleeding anymore, but during her days of separation, and because he slept near her, he died at half of his life. Half of life is like 35. Blessed is Hashem who killed him because he did such a sin. And if you're a person that has regard for your soul, you should make careful to learn things that are forbidden when she's supposed to separate from you. Either mipi seifrim, either learn it from teachers, or mipi svarim, or if you're embarrassed that you don't know it, you could learn it from svarim. V'silmud lasoi sulakayim mitzvahs Hashem, and learn to do and fulfill the mitzvahs of Hashem. V'gam Hashem Yitein HaTov, and also then Hashem who gives good, Lo Yimon HaTov, he won't withhold good, Lo Holchim B'Sam, to those that go with him in a perfect way. Now the Rambam, speaking again about Kriya Shema, Eizel Zman Kriya Shema B'Layla, when is the time to say Kriya Shema in the night? Mitzvasa Mishas Yetzias HaKochavim, when the stars come out, Ad Chatzi HaLayla, until Chatzos. V'im avar v'icher, if he passed that time, delayed, v'karat shelo yala amad hashachar, and said Kriya Shema before dawn, yatsi yedei chavasa, he fulfilled his requirement. Shelo yamar ad chatzos, they only say until midnight, ela k'dei la'arach kadam and apshia, to distance a person from neglecting it. He'll lay down and then he'll oversleep. Hakari Kriya Shema shel arvis achar she'omad ala amad hashachar, if he said Kriya Shema after dawn, koydem ha'netz hachama, before sunrise, so it depends. Lo yatsi yedei chavasa, he doesn't fulfill his requirement, elim kein haya honest, unless it was an accident beyond his control, so then he could do it before sunrise. Could go in shikar if he got drunk, or chayla was sick, or something like that. V'anis shekar be'esazeh, and if you were an Einus and you said Kriya Shema after Amad HaShachar, before sunrise, you can't say Hashkivenu. Ein Aimer Hashkivenu, you can't say Hashkivenu in Mariv, because that's not anymore a time that people go to sleep. We want to thank everybody for making this learning possible, and wish everyone a good Tavach.